Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video this will be a short video on the Dooms. I know if you have been playing for a while this game, you know that Dooms suck. It's just very, nobody uses them. Okay, if you have been playing for a while, you will know this. If you're a beginner, I would say this is not probably the best time to go for them. Maybe try building Ethereals or Glorians are the best right now. Okay, so yeah, just don't go for Dooms as of now, but if they get a buff, maybe it is worth to go for it. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about, okay, in general. So yeah, just before I talk about that, I want to say that I don't use Doom myself. As you can see, my team is trash, but I have talked to other people who do play Dooms, and yeah, some of them, one of them is GeneralFear. So he said, so I think he is a bit in the late game. So I would say he has a pretty advanced team as well. So he says the sustain is the main problem. Okay. Now other people in my own server who uses Dooms, they said the main problem with them is they are very hard to build. They are very expensive to build. Okay. So those are the basic two main issues with them. And I agree with them. Okay, so let's talk about this expensiveness. Now, if you have read the description of Doomsdayers, either the relics or the hero synergy, you will see that they will benefit from the reflect rate, allied team's attack, and 12 times by 12%. Okay, and in the relics there is the reflect damage is kept by the average max HP. So in both of these cases, you will see that the more advanced your team is, the more reflect damage you're going to do. So if you have a very high end team, your allies team attack will be high, therefore your reflect damage will be high. On the other hand, here, if you have a high end team, your average max HP is going to be high, and therefore the reflect damage is going to be high. So therefore, the reason it is expensive, and that is the reason, because you need very high end team. You need probably 10 star of each of them, or 9 star, or more than that. Okay, if it is less, then it's not going to deal a lot of reflect damage. So that is what it means from expensive point of view. On the other hand, sustain. Okay, sustainability is very hard for them. It is very hard for them to sustain. That is because they do not have any healer. So not an active healer. They do not get any healing from their relics. The relics they have is, well, there might be some relics which has some healing. So this one has some healing. This one has some healing. This one has shield. Never mind. And this one has a bit of stun. So yeah, these are pretty much the relics. But basically, they do not have a hero that can heal. So yeah, so that's why they're sustained, and they also do not get any sort of, some of them like Helios, Athena, some of them has some damage reduction in their skills. Okay, so for this one you can see Helios increases on damage reduction by 30%, but it's not too much. They basically, the boost they apply to themselves is basically more like reflect boost. I know Helios is probably the only one in Dooms that can apply defense reduction and defense boost. Okay, so they do not have really good sustain. Yeah, just because no one uses them, I can't really go and test my own lineup. This is what I use. I use pretty much Ethereal all the time. But yeah, that's what my point of view is. Now, because now there is Foggy Colosseum is available, there are some teams in here that people have been using, and they have some Dooms lineup in there. So let's go to this one, I guess. I think it's this one. Okay, so if you go over here, you can see that this Dooms has won from the Avengers. And that is mainly because I watched the video, and that is mainly because this team has healer. It has 2 healers in here, and they have Doris. So when Doris does the vital drain, the healing just kills them, okay, just kill themselves. So that's why I think they won. And it's also a bit more, this team is maybe a little bit more better than this, but in terms of damage they're not too bad. I guess the reflect damage is still good. When you look at the video, it feels like they do a lot of reflect damage. So the damage is fine. The sustain, they suck at sustain. So if we go into this one, over here, you can see here this has won, but it is against Ethereal, so Ethereal is a top team, but I guess this has won only because this is not using a very great lineup. I would say there is no Karnak, there is no Katrina, there is no relics, but yeah, it has won. So if we go to Group D, I guess over here you see this guy is using Dooms, and he could not beat Ethereals, because this Ethereal, even though you see this, I would say they're pretty much similar in terms of star levels and power. But if you see here, this team is using Katrina and Karnak, so they have a lot of sustain. So these guys, Dooms, cannot one-shot them or cannot kill them. Even though they do some reflect damage, they're going to heal back again. So the reflect damage won't kill them, won't one-shot them, if that makes sense. So it's just really hard for Dooms to kill Ethereals. Now there are many other examples over here. I have been searching and looking for it, but in all of them pretty much they lack sustain. They do reflect damage, they take the enemies HP very, very low, but if they have any sort of healer and the Dooms is not using some sort of like Doris for vital drain, they just cannot kill them. They cannot win the round. So now now let's talk in terms of, oh, I have crashed. So I have crashed. I have been crashing a lot. I don't know why. Maybe this is something with BlueStacks. I usually play it on phone, but yeah, I have been crashing a lot, so I have crashed again. Yeah, so now I'm going to talk about how does a 5 Dooms team would do against these different lineups. So I would say probably Dooms is better than Mystifier. So if you go with Mystifier with a good Dooms team, you probably would see that they would beat them. The Dooms might win from Mystifier because Mystifier right now is the worst team. Valianters, I don't know who would win if 5 Valianters go against Dooms. I mean, they can get one shot if you have a good Dooms team. They can get the reflect damage and they just die there instantly. But I would say you need a more advanced team in Dooms to one-shot them. Otherwise, your heroes are going to die, but the Valianters, the enemy heroes, are not going to die in one shot. So you need a high-end team to do more reflect damage. Yeah, overall, that's what I would say for Valianters. I don't think maybe these Valianters is a bit more strong. So for Ethereals, as I said, Ethereals is more stronger than Dooms whatsoever. If you put Karnak and Katrina in one team and use one other Ethereal and put some other stuff, they are always going to win from Dooms. Dooms is just, they cannot one-shot Katrina, they cannot one-shot Karnak or heroes like them. So as long as these Karnak and Katrinas are alive, and that your ally, the enemies, does crit damage, they're going to get heal and shield, so they will never die. Obviously, if they can't win Ethereals, they can't win Glorians as well. Glorians also has a lot of sustain. Many Glorian teams have Lily in there. Lily provides shield and healing, so they just also won't die. Okay. For Avengers, it is interesting because if the enemy team, the Dooms, use Doris, the Doris does vital drain, and the Avengers are using some sort of healing like Persephone or Lachesis, then they probably win. Dooms will win from Avengers. But if they don't use Doris and they use some other heroes, I really don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating, but maybe Avengers I think would win just because Selene is so good. There are just this. Yeah, it is just good. Avengers must be better. Okay, so one lineup I would say probably is really good for Dooms is usually what Dooms use, an average Dooms player would use is Ayushta, Helios. Um, they would use Sylvan. Sylvan is a must-have. Doris, if they have. Doris is not very hard to get. You can buy her from Guild Shop. Same for Helios. Here, Athena and Merlin, they're both similar in many aspects. Just their kits are a bit different. He's a Verdian, she is a Dawnbringer, and things different. He's also a magic damage, and she is a physical damage dealer. So other than that, they're pretty much very, very same. But if you change some stuff, so you have Ayushta, you have Helios, you have these two, and you will have one of these. So if you have Lamia, these two are really hard to get, because this is, I believe, Gen 3 and this is Gen 4 heroes, so they are very hard to get. Unless you are very, very big whale, you probably don't have them, or unless you are lucky. Okay, if you are lucky, you probably have Lamia. If you have Lamia, you probably will exchange it for any of these two, whatever it is. You get a good reflect boost, you get a good attack, you get, yeah, just that's pretty much the lineup it is. It's just I think their damage is good. They do some decent damage, and also the reflect damage, we have to consider that as well. So what is my suggestion? Okay, how can developers, I don't think they will watch this video and do it, but what is my suggestion? Okay, so first of all, the expensiveness. Now we need to change these things. Okay, this allied teams attack, here the reflect damage is based or scaled based on allied teams attack. In here it is limited by average max HP. So you need a very advanced team to push the limit and do more reflect damage. So yeah, that's what makes it expensive. They need to maybe increase this stuff or make some changes in here. So even if you have an 8-star of each of these hero, they still do some decent reflect damage, or they won't require you to have an 11-star hero to do decent reflect damage. Okay, so that's what basically is the expensiveness about them. They're very difficult to build, and many say that Dooms are good in the long term. So if you invest in it and you go to 10 stars, 11 stars, or 12 stars, they will be decent. But still, they will not be able to win from Ethereals, Glorians, maybe Valianters as well. Yeah, so that's what my suggestion is for expensiveness. For the sustain, to be honest, I definitely think that the reflect mechanism overall should be changed. Okay, so now when I think about reflect is just sending something back. Okay, sending something back. Now the reflect here doesn't work like this. Even though if your enemy does or does not take, if your allies take or not take any damage, they will still do reflect damage. Okay, I don't know how that works, but it is what it is. I think the reflect should be changed somehow, so that if they receive, for example, 20 million damage, they receive only half of it and reflect half of it. So this is just some arbitrary number, but that's what my idea is. They need to get less damage. So if the original damage is 20 million, they should receive 10 million and reflect the rest of it. If I don't know, it's just my suggestion, probably not the best, but this is what I think. If they take less damage and they do not have any healer, that's probably going to increase their sustain. Otherwise, these guys are just so bad in the sustain. They just die very quickly. Yeah, that was pretty much for this video, and I don't know if I would do any other video like this on Mystifiers. I have not much opinion on the Mystifiers. They're just so bad. I have crashed again. Okay, so I have crashed again. I don't know why this is happening, but yeah, that was pretty much all for this video. I hope you like it. Yeah, let me know if you want me to put my suggestion as well for Mystifiers. Maybe I will have a chat with those who use Mystifiers and see what they lack and what could be changed about them. Yeah, the other teams, I would say they are pretty good. They're not too OP, except Glorians and Ethereals. They're just too good. Valianters and Avengers, I think they're good in their position. Okay. Okay, see you guys in the next video.